Hey everyone, RJ here. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm giving my 1 month review on the NUU Mobile G5. Okay, so I unboxed the NUU Mobile G5 about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, but somewhere around in there. And I actually purchased the NUU Mobile G5 on Amazon. But since then, NUU Mobile reached out to me and sent me this NUU Mobile G5 here. So big shout out to NUU Mobile for sending this out for review. Now, I have been using this one here the majority of the time that I have been using the NUU Mobile G5. I've used it on networks like the T-Mobile network. I've used it for playing games and just everyday usage to see how the NUU Mobile G5 actually works. So right now the case is on the phone. We're going to just remove this case, which is a really nice case, by the way. As you can see right here, just a regular gel skin case, but kind of a smoke color, so I like that. And wipe down the back of the phone here a little bit. It does seem to have, it's amazing to me how much dust gets in behind a case. I mean, really. But yeah, there we go. Now, some will say this phone looks like a purple color. To me, it has the blue look, of course, you can see right there, but it does have that tint of purple at times. But the way this phone looks, it looks amazing. It's made of plastic, but the phone just looks awesome. Okay, now before I really get into the review, I'm gonna give you just a rundown of a few specs of this phone. Now, of course, you can see right there the quad camera setup, which I'll be testing that out here in just a little bit. But the quad camera setup contains a 16 megapixel regular lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The front camera is a 16 megapixel and it can record in full 1080, 30 frames per second front and rear. Now this phone runs the MediaTek Helio A25 processor. It is an octa-core processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of onboard storage. It does have a 6.55-inch HD Plus IPS display at 1600 by 720, so 720p display. This phone also runs Android 10, has your little hole punch camera up there in the front. It has a mono bottom firing speaker here on the bottom. Now, the 4G LTE bands shows bands 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12, 13, 17, and 28 AB. Compatible with T-Mobile and AT&T. Wi-Fi is 802.11 ABGNAC 2.4 to 5 gigahertz. Wi-Fi. It has voice over LTE and voice over Wi-Fi, USB-C, USB OTG on the go, fingerprint scanner on the rear, and I mean just a bunch of nice features here on the NUU Mobile G5. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna give you some of the goods of the phone, some of the bads that I've seen with the phone, and all that kind of stuff there. But yeah, I mean, the phone looks nice all the way around. Fingerprint scanner works just fine as well, and the display looks very crisp. Okay, you can look at it here as I'm bringing it in, and overall the display is bright, it's vibrant. You can see right here where I have the brightness set around 50%, and it looks just fine. Now, the phone performs okay. I mean, it's got 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage, and overall, you know, for your light to medium usage, this phone is going to work just fine. However, one of the biggest shortcomings that I see with the NUU Mobile G5 is its processor. It runs the MediaTek Helio A25 processor, which is a very low-end budget processor. The NUU Mobile G3 that came out 2 years ago actually ran a better processor when it ran the MediaTek Helio P25 processor. And that processor has been known to be faster and more responsive than the A25 processor. So not really sure why they went this route. However, it does have the same RAM and ROM as the G3 did at 4 gig, 64 gig. But of course, you got a much bigger display here, 6.55 inch. You know, quad camera setup here on the rear, which honestly takes pretty good photos and pretty good videos as well. Now, this phone at retail price, I believe that Amazon was selling it for $159. Now, Amazon had this phone on sale for $129.99. Now, I just tried looking it up to verify the price. I couldn't find it on Amazon for some reason, but it was selling on Amazon for $129. So if you find it on there for that price, It's a definite grab in my opinion for that price. Now this phone also has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and believe me, this phone will last you a while on battery life. I mean, I don't really do battery tests that often because battery life varies with everybody on how you use your phone, how much you use your phone, how long you talk on your phone, watch YouTube on your phone, Netflix, whatever the case may be, or even gaming. So battery differs for everyone, and therefore it's hard to do an actual battery test. I mean, I can just tell you that the batteries are good. The battery is good here in the new Mobile G5. Now, pulling the drop down, you have the dark mode. You have your screen recorder, which is really nice, Wi-Fi, super screenshot, all that stuff that you see in all these phones. Now let's go ahead and see how gaming works. But before I do that, I do want to show you a Geekbench 5 score of the new Mobile G5. So here we got a single core score of 140 and a multi-core score of A59. How will that affect gameplay? We'll find out here shortly. Now, if you want to see a more thorough game test where I, play the games that I normally play, which is usually PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, and Asphalt 9, let me know down below in the comment section and I'll make that happen. Let's go ahead and load up Asphalt 9 here. So I'll go ahead, let it load up, and I'll come back when it's set up. Okay, so I got my car of choice here. Now, as I was navigating through the system and the settings here on this game, it is set at default setting. So it's loading up, and it can take a little bit to load up sometimes, but it's not that big of a deal. So turn the volume up just a little bit here. Not by much, just a little bit. So, yeah. You're seeing the wait times here. Just loading this game up. Just kind of sitting here and quiet. Well, I'm talking, so it's not really quiet, but anyway, we're just waiting. Okay. I'll keep it in frame as much as I can. So right now, I mean, even though it may not be the clearest graphics, even though, and all of that, you might see a few drop frames here and there, but it's not going to be like a complete disaster while playing this game, okay? I do see some drop frames here and there, but honestly, as long as you don't have it set to high performance and the clearest view, then you're seeing right here. I mean, it may take a while to load up and stuff like that, but once you're actually in the game, as you're seeing right there, it's actually doing pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it does have a little hang up, little freeze here and there. We'll go ahead and finish this round out here, or this race out here. So you've seen a bit of a kind of a freeze and a drop right there a minute ago. But I mean, the price you're paying for this phone of $129 to $159, don't expect flagship performance. I mean, overall, this is gonna do just fine. This is a graphic intense game. It is. It's not going to be a game that's going to, it's not just some lightweight game. It does have some, pretty intense graphics with this game. But as you've seen right there, it does perform very well. I mean, it does have some drop frames and some freezes here and there. But overall, it does just fine. But if you want some really heavy, intense gaming, you might want to look elsewhere. Let's go ahead and check out that camera. Now, quad camera set up on the rear. You see right there's the front-facing camera. We'll flip that back around to the rear. And you have, of course, like I say, just sometimes just the slightest little bit of things is not the smoothest transition, and I blame that on the processor. I don't blame it on the phone itself. It's got plenty of RAM, it's got plenty of storage, but the processor, I believe, is what's hindering this phone the most, being the A25 processor. It's just not a powerhouse whatsoever. But got your wide angle button here. You see how long it took for it to go to wide angle and back to normal mode. It's just one of those things that deals with the processor in this phone. Now it does have, like I said, a 16 megapixel camera. Going into video mode here, you can see that it records in full 1080, 720, and 480. So here are a couple of pictures that I took with the NUU Mobile G5. One is a regular shot, one is a ultra wide shot, a selfie shot, and a selfie video with the front facing camera. Let's check that out now. So here's the front camera on the NUU Mobile G5, recording at full 1080. I do have a ring light in behind the phone, which I do on all of these self videos like this here. Of course, your experience with the camera will be different if you're outside in good lighting, if you got lower lighting or whatever the case may be. But this right here, you know, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty decent. The audio quality, you got to check that out here as well. But the video quality looks to be pretty decent here on the NUU Mobile G5. So there you have it. There are just a couple of sample photos, a sample video here on the NUU Mobile G5. Let me know below in the comment section what y'all think of the quality of those photos and video. Now, when it comes to reviewing phones, I am a bit scattered. Y'all know that. Y'all see that. That's because I don't script anything. I just wing it all, and whatever comes to my mind is what I throw out there. I know I probably need to have some points I need to follow for each thing I want to mention in a phone during a review. I got to learn that. I'm still working on that. I don't review phones very, very often. So, yeah, it's just I'm just winging it, and whatever pops in my mind is what I say. So what are the pros and cons of this device? Well, the pros are the display looks really good. I mean, the display is crisp, it's clear. I mean, you can read everything just fine. I mean, for your Instagram, your Twitter, your, whatever, YouTube, you can watch in 720p. That's what the display is here. And it's going to look good. It's going to look fine. The phone does get bright, as you see right now, 50% brightness, and I can see the screen very well. The battery, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, will get you through a whole day easily here on this device. So no problems there with the battery. Cameras do a good job. In lower lighting, you're going to see some grain here and there, of course. That's just the way it is. You're buying this phone here on a budget price, okay? Gameplay is passable on this phone. It ain't going to be the smoothest experience, but Asphalt 9 did have a few hiccups here and there, but overall played the game just fine. Really won't hinder your gameplay. Of course, like I said, if you want to see more games like Call of Duty, PUBG played on this phone, let me know and I'll make that happen. Overall, it's just a good phone if you don't want to spend a ton of money, but you want a phone that looks good, has decent cameras, fingerprint scanner, a nice display. Now, there's mainly just two cons that I find with this phone, and the first and foremost is the processor. They could have put the P35 or the P60 from MediaTek in this device, and it would have made a world of difference in the performance of this phone. The second thing is the bottom firing speaker. The bottom firing speaker gets loud, but it's not a good loud. It is a loud that will kind of pierce your ears. It's just got a really high highs and mids. It's got no lows whatsoever. So the bottom firing speaker, you may want to plug in some headphones with its headphone jack here on the bottom, or a nice pair of Bluetooth earbuds, because the bottom firing speaker, while it is loud, if you want a ringer, just a normal ringer that rings like a normal phone, it's going to be loud. You're going to be able to hear it just fine. But if you're watching YouTube, listening to music, yeah, it's loud, but like I said, it's kind of a piercing loud. So the speaker could be improved on this phone. But that's really the only two gripes I have with this device. Of course, the processor being a biggie, dealing with the performance of the phone. It has plenty of RAM, at 4 gigabytes of RAM, storage, 64 gigs, expendable storage as well. I mean, the phone overall is a really good phone. And other than the processor and the bottom firing speaker, I have nothing else negative to say about it. Like I said, call quality is good. Reception is strong on this phone. and the battery lasts you a long time. The display looks really good for watching content, you know. So, I mean, can I recommend this phone? I can sit here and say, yes, I do. I recommend this phone. For the price point, if you can get it between 129 to 159, I would say grab it. So, what do y'all think of this phone? Would y'all pick this phone up? If it's helpful and informative in any way, hit that like button. Any questions, leave it down below. Upload every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you're new around here, be sure and subscribe and click that bell. I would appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.